Okay, describe the components of a strong interpersonal relationship between administrators and teachers.
Between administrators and teachers, a strong component. I would say my favorite word is respect. That when we're talking about interpersonal skills here, I just think that as an administrator and a teacher, you have to have that mutual respect for each other and that understanding, more of a respect for diversity. You know, the administrator looks at things different as a teacher would, but you have to understand both opinions so you can come together and do what's best for the student or the parent, whichever that you're discussing or working with at that time.
How important do you think interpersonal relationships are between administrators and educators?
Extremely important. If you don't have, again, I'm going to go back to the word respect. If you don't have that mutual respect, you're not going to be able to have that dialogue, that communication between the two. And without the dialogue and communication, you're not going to be able to build on each other's strengths, understand each other's weaknesses from each other, and how to be a better educator within the classroom.
How has this impacted your job? Describe an incident, whether it be positive or negative.
I would have to go with the PACE and the DEA, Discovery Education Assessment Program that we have in these schools. Those seem to be the two biggest issues between administrators and teachers, where there's a lot of, I don't want to say necessarily differences, but just opinions, have different opinions. And that's where we've had to come together and realize that we can learn from each other. For example, the Pacing Guide and the DEA Assessment Program just formed a committee of teachers where we were actually asking and asking them to look at the pacing, reviewing the Pacing Guide, what suggestions could they make, and we're open to listen to their suggestions, and I think it's very beneficial. We've gotten some awesome input from teachers that we just really didn't think about. And as an administrator, I don't want to say you completely forget about what it's like in the classroom, but you're not in that classroom at that time, and there are so many different changes just with your students and your parents. Teachers live it every day, and their input on how to do things in the classroom that we're open enough to listen to, I think we work together and it benefits everybody. So we're excited about this new committee that we formed and have learned a lot, and we've learned some new ideas and things that we will implement for next year.
Do you think strong interpersonal relationships between administrators and educators affect student achievement, teacher satisfaction, and school climate?
Most definitely. You have to have respect for diversity. And I'm not talking about age, race, or gender. I'm talking about diversity in the individuals as far as what motivates that person, what are their desires, what their intentions are. And once you try to understand the whole person, I think your students pick up on that. You have a more comfortable environment. You see that people are trying to understand each other's opinions and where they come from. So I think it definitely has an effect on students' environment at the school.
Do you think the team-teacher evaluation has affected the relationship built between teachers and administrators? And if so, how?
Okay. This year's been a tough year. I think, if anything, it's been a tough year for administrators and teachers. It's new for administrators. It's a new process. It takes a lot of time, so they're kind of concerned about that side. And then teachers, it's hard for teachers because they're nervous. They feel like they're being judged or that they're having to do so much extra. I think in the long run, it's going to be very beneficial because it's opening up that communication and that dialogue in a positive way. I think when both sides can focus on what good it can do within the classroom, I think people will be more acceptable to this team evaluation.